The city was a blur of gray, hidden behind a relentless curtain of rain. People scurried by, their umbrellas a sea of bobbing colors, each person in a rush to escape the storm. But not everyone had a shield that day. Among them was Arun, a young college student, completely soaked. His old umbrella, a casualty of the wind, was useless. With every step, his shoes squished, and his bag, heavy with books, grew heavier with water. He had a crucial exam that morning, but it seemed fate had other plans. As he neared a busy intersection, he stopped. Under the weak, flickering light of a street lamp, an elderly man stood alone, shivering. His clothes were thin, his face etched with weariness, and he had nothing to protect him from the downpour. He just stood there, waiting for someone who might never arrive. Arun hesitated. The exam, the time ticking away, the sheer misery of the rain, everything screamed at him to keep moving, but his heart wouldn't let him. He walked over to the old man. "Sir," he said gently, "you'll get sick standing here. Please take my umbrella." The man looked up startled, his eyes pale but kind. "Oh no, young man," he replied softly. "You need it more than I do." Arun just smiled, shaking his head. "I'm already drenched. It won't make a difference for me. Please, you need this." After a moment, the old man accepted it. Tired, grateful smile touched his lips. "Thank you, son," he said quietly. "May your kindness shield you one day, when the rain falls again." Arun nodded, waved, and ran off into the storm. His books were ruined, but his heart felt strangely warm. Days turned into weeks, and that small act of kindness began to fade from memory. Arun finished college and started the long, arduous search for a job. But the world wasn't being kind. Every interview ended with the same polite rejections. "Sorry, we've chosen someone else. We'll keep your resume on file. You just don't have enough experience." The words echoed in his mind, a constant refrain of disappointment, yet he never gave up. Each morning, he'd leave his small home with a fresh spark of hope, only to return each evening with it extinguished. His mother, Mira, would be waiting by the window. Their home was humbled, just a single room, a tiny kitchen, and a collection of memories from better times. One evening, she asked him, "How many interviews today?" Arun sighed, dropping his bag. "3, all the same answer." She came over, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Maybe life is just testing you," she said softly. "But good hearts are never forgotten, Arun. You will find your place." He managed a faint smile. "I hope you're right, Ma." Months passed. The seasons changed and the monsoon returned. The sky grew dark, and the familiar rhythm of raindrops began to drum against the window. That morning, Arun had another interview, one that felt different, more important. He carefully ironed his only clean shirt, borrowed a tie from a neighbor, and left with plenty of time. But halfway there, the heavens opened up. The rain came down in sheets. Arun looked up at the sky and let out a bitter laugh. Again, I guess I'll never win against the rain. He didn't have an umbrella this time. The one he'd given away was a distant memory. By the time he arrived at the sleek modern office building, he was soaked. Water dripped from his hair onto the polished floor. His papers were slightly damp. But his spirit, remarkably, was still intact. The receptionist gave him a disapproving frown. "You're 10 minutes late," she said sharply. "I'm so sorry." "The rain, no excuses," she cut in. "The manager's about to leave. You might still catch him." Room 203. Arun thanked her and hurried up the stairs, his heart pounding against his ribs. He knocked and entered. Behind a large wooden desk sat an elderly man in a sharp gray suit. His hair was white, his face was lined with age, but his eyes held a calm, steady power. He looked up as Arun walked in. "Come in, you're the last candidate." Arun nodded respectfully and sat down, conscious of his damp clothes. The man smiled slightly. "You look like you fought a storm to get here." Arun gave a nervous chuckle. "Something like that, sir? I gave my umbrella away once, and I guess the sky never forgot." The old man leaned forward. His interest piqued. "You gave it away?" "Yes, sir." "Months ago, to an old man standing in the rain. I just couldn't walk past him." There was a long, heavy silence. The man's expression softened, changing completely. "An old man. Near the bus stop on Park Street?" "Yes." Eyes widened in confusion. "Yes, that's the one. How did you?" The man smiled, a gentle, knowing smile. That old man was me. Arun froze, staring in utter disbelief. The man continued, his voice thick with emotion. That day I was coming back from the hospital. My heart was weak. My hope was even weaker. And then you, a complete stranger, offered me your only protection. You didn't know who I was or what I had. You just gave. He looked Arun straight in the eye. You reminded me that kindness still exists in this world. Arun was speechless, tears welling up in his eyes. The old man stood and walked to the window, gazing at the rain. I told you that day, he said softly, that your kindness would shield you when the rain fell again. He turned back, his smile warm and genuine. Today it did. He handed a file to Arun. You're hired. We're done with interviews. I've seen your character, and that's worth more than any resume. Arun stammered, Sir, I don't know what to say. The man chuckled. Just keep being the person who gives away his umbrella. The world needs more people like you. When Arun stepped out of the office, the rain had stopped. The clouds had parted and brilliant sunlight was spilling onto the wet streets, making them gleam like silver. He stood still for a moment, closing his eyes, letting the warmth wash over his face. He smiled, not just because he had a job, but because he understood something profound. Every act of kindness, no matter how small it seems, ripples out into the world and finds its way back to you. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but one day, when you need it most, life returns the favor in the most beautiful way. He looked up at the clearing sky and whispered, Thank you for returning what I once gave away. As he walked home, the sun breaking through the clouds, he carried no umbrella, only a heart full of peace. Kindness is never a waste. Even the smallest gesture can change a life, and one day it will come back to change yours. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content that inspires. We'll see you in the next one.